I'm Earl Stewart. I welcome you to Earl Stewart on Cars Mystery Shopping Report.
This mystery shopping report, Kenny Ross Mazda from North Huntington, Pennsylvania.
Well, Agent Lightning is traveling again, and that's nice when she does that. And her hometown is in Pennsylvania, so she gets to Pennsylvania fairly often, but she travels other places too, so it's great. I'll speak in the first person as if I am Agent Lightning. I arrived early in the afternoon and was greeted by a gentleman sitting behind the front desk. He smiled broadly and asked me if I was there to see anyone in particular. I replied that I was just interested in seeing if they had any new Mazda 3s in stock. He chuckled, informed me that while they were difficult to come by, they did have two on the premises. When asked about the color preferences, I expressed interest in the blue one. He promptly assured me he'd return shortly with a license plate and keys. Upon his return, he beckoned me to follow him outside where he would pull the car up for me. After parking the car, he inquired whether I was considering trading in my current vehicle and requested my driver's license. Now, these questions, when you go into a car dealership, which I strongly recommend against, I recommend online buying, telephone buying. When you go into a car dealership, you're under the dealership's control. They have the edge. But if you're there, you're there. He asked me whether I was considering trading my current vehicle. They want your current vehicle. And when you answer yes or no, that affects the price of the new vehicle. So all these questions that you answer are feeding him information he needs to make the maximum profit from your visit. And that's the way car dealerships operate. It doesn't sound like something that you would accept in the 21st century, but the last of the Mohegans in the car are the car dealers and the way they sell cars. It's haggling and hassling. It's negotiating. The sharp negotiator gets a really good price. The same person comes in, buys the same car that you did, and pays thousands of dollars more. It's really, really like Russian roulette when you're buying a car. And that's where we are in the 21st century. It's tempting to infuse some humor in the situation. You might comment, believe it or not, I'm not always as much of a pain in the behind. And that's another thing that he's trained to do. Likable people sell products. Likable people sell cars. So when a person has a wonderful personality and treats you, we sometimes on the show when we do shopping reports, we get angry at rude salespeople. Well, rude salespeople are also stupid salespeople because the one that can really get you, the one that can really sell you a car for far more than you should pay is the guy that smiles and ingratiates him or herself to you. And when you like somebody, it's easier to get the checkbook out and write a check out than if you don't trust them. So the successful salespeople that make the most money are also the nicest, unfortunately. Okay, I handed over my license, and he left me to familiarize himself with the car while he made a copy of my identification. A few minutes later, he was back, and off we went. During the test drive, Nick expounded on the various features of the Mazda 3, highlighting that it was top-rated for safety amongst all brands. We continued a lovely chat throughout the drive, where I mentioned that I was considering buying a car to keep this in this area. And remember, we're in Huntington, Pennsylvania, in this area where I was considering buying a car. Responded to this, he suggested that I might want to consider leasing, given that I wouldn't be driving it frequently. I can kind of halfway understand that logic, but it was just sales talk, so I guess it could make sense. After giving it some thought, I told him we'd most likely buy the car, eventually hand it down to our daughter when she starts driving. I thanked him for his suggestion, acknowledging it is a good idea that I hadn't previously considered, meaning the leasing, because you're not going to drive it very much. He's referring to the mileage issue. After the test drive, he demonstrated a few more features, after which we headed back inside to his desk. As Nick began inputting my information, he made light of his one-finger typing skills, again, being friendly, being nice, and getting ready to pounce. Go for the jugular. He's asked for my email address, requesting that I dictate it slowly so he could accurately input it. After collecting all of my details, he inquired if I had any questions about the car and whether I'd like to proceed with the buying process. Upon my affirmative response, he asked about my credit. There we go with his standard questions. Financing duration and down payment details before excusing himself to confer with the sales manager. Now, questions like this are qualifying questions. They're questions that eventually you need to answer. But I just tell you this, when you're being controlled by the salesperson and he's asking the questions and you're giving the answers, you're giving him the things he needs to do to maximize the profit for the dealer and the commission for himself. So why go into a dealership and spill your guts, pardon the expression, and tell them everything about you and everything you want to do when you could do this online and keep your personal information to yourself and still get a good price? Because if you're online, they can't, they can't ask these questions and expect answers. You're in control because you want one thing and you want their best price, which is the way you should buy a car. A few minutes later, Nick returned with a price sheet, took the time to explain all the fees, and there are quite a few. The market value selling price was MSRP, $25,015. They took off a $1,045 discount. Now that sounds real good, right?
Sure does.
Because you hear about cars being sold at MSRP and over, but you say, hey, this is market value selling price, $20,015. They just took off $1,045. Well, hang on to your hat. Here's what really happened. After $1,045 discount from MSRP, they added $999 for LoJack. Now, a lot of you folks probably haven't even heard about LoJack. LoJack was the first GPS theft deterrent in the world. It was really primitive, and you had to sign up. Some states had it, some states didn't. The price was high.
And it's got to be installed like in your car, like some device.
They hide it someplace.
Yeah. Yep.
But you can do the same thing yourself. You can buy a GPS device on Amazon for $20 or $30. Apple AirTag is a LoJack. So here they want $1,000 for a LoJack, which is an archaic piece of equipment. It's like a horse and buggy compared to a car. It makes no sense. They exist only for car dealers to have big markups and big gross profit when they pack the LoJack onto your car and don't ask you, and then they add $1,000 for it. Forget about LoJack. Next, $499 for NSD appearance package. We don't know what that is, but it's $499, mostly all profit to the dealer. And then they have a 2-year paint. That is a 2-year paint and fabric protection. Yeah. Okay. Now, what can a 2-year paint and fabric protection be when that's all covered by the warranty? Unless you destroy the leather or the cloth yourself or scratch the car, I don't think this NSD appearance package would cover that either. So, to me, that's worthless, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably like a Scotch guard type of thing inside.
Well, for 2 years, the factory covers it.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe a kid spills Kool-Aid in it, it would cover that.
But wait, there's more. $400 for etch. Now that's this glass etch, which back in the day when we used to do that, before I became a recovering car dealer, I paid $25 for that. Today, let's be crazy and say it costs $100. They're charging $400. And then they add a doc fee, $449 doc fee. A documentary fee is a fee that you're supposed to pay. That's a legal term, and it doesn't exist. There's no lawyers involved in this. These are all junk fees. They have different names, but they're junk fees, and there's some value to the things like the NSD, very low value, and even the LoJack. My being Agent Lightning, my total out the door figure was $27,963. My real selling price was $26,316, $1,301 over MSRP. Now, I would have had more respect for this dealer if he'd have just had on the window, alongside the Maroney label, that had the MSRP of $25,015. They just said $1,300 addendum, market adjustment addendum. I don't like it, but it's less deceptive. It's at least, it's just saying, listen, I'm charging you $1,300 over MSRP. Be upfront about it. Give that shopper, meaning me, the right to shop and compare with other dealers. But with the smoke and mirrors, with a low jack, with the NSD appearance package, paint and fabric, dock fees, etch, that's smoke and mirrors, folks. They're trying to confuse you, and frankly, I'm a little surprised. We've had some really good shopping reports from Pennsylvania. And this really got me. I'm Agent Lighting, remember. I attempted to take a picture of the worksheet with my iPhone camera, but the salesman refused gently, stating that it was not permitted to allow this, and he could potentially lose his job over it. Now, first of all, I don't really think he would lose his job, but you know something, he could. In some hard-nosed dealerships, they say, do this or else. It's my way or the highway. I mean, some dealerships operate like that. It's most like the dealership, or the salesman was going for a pity response. Oh, I don't want you to lose your job. So, but he would not allow, I mean, it's like saying, I won't give you a copy of the price I just gave you. If they won't give you a copy, meaning your photograph, what does that tell you about the integrity of the person selling you the product?
Yeah, and also integrity of the information on it. If they're not going to give it to you, it tells me it's going to change.
Yeah, exactly. And it tells you also that they don't want you to shop and compare their price. They would rather you go out blind and get the best price they can, which would be a higher price. If you had a good price from one dealer and you took it to another dealer, you would have some control over trying to get a lower price. Anyway, he would allow me to have a picture, but I said, I need some information to take home to my husband because he wants a detailed breakdown of the cost, to which he posed a challenging question. What would be the final figure that would convince me to buy the car immediately without my husband saying any numbers? That is really and unusual for this part of the country, by the way, because Agent Lightning has shopped this area several times before. I admitted that might not work, given that my husband is a numbers person and would want to scrutinize the breakdown. I noted down all the items, and then he took my phone and captured a photo for me. So there again, he ingratiated after asking me to fear for his life if he took a picture. He snuck a picture with my phone and gave it back to me. So I think it's a game he's playing. I think he's trying to ingratiate himself to me so that I will feel sorry for him and buy the car. I'm sorry, that's the way I feel. Nick excused himself to fetch his manager. Upon their return, his manager suggested that I take the car for the afternoon to drive and show my husband. That's aggressive, and you know, if you're buying a car, you should take the car for the afternoon. Despite their offer, I declined, explaining that I had a lot on my plate before heading back to Florida. I thanked him for the time, and I left. So there we are, Kenny Ross, Mazda, North Huntington, Pennsylvania. And we will score this.
I give him a D-.
Rick?
For me, I'm going to say a D.
Okay,
Nancy?
guess what? You failed. I give you an F.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a D too, because that's the worst store we shopped in Pennsylvania, but there's some stores down here and around the rest of the country that are so bad, I'm not going to fail them, but I came close. Hi, this is Earl Stewart. Thank you for watching this video. If you would like to be notified of new videos that we post to our YouTube channel, simply click on the subscribe button and the bell icon in the lower right-hand side of the screen.